Good morning. It is Sunday. Uh, let's see, what is it going to be? It's going to be the 14th of September. So it's been about 7 months since I recorded my last video. And it's interesting because this morning it's about 60 degrees and we're just starting to get a little bit of that cool feeling in the morning of fall. And my last video was snow in the background. And so that was right at the end of the snow season. So interesting stuff. Anyway, I gotta have something that's happening tomorrow that I figured I would come and share because it's pretty cool. So as I've shared many times with you, I believe it was fifth grade was when I made the proclamation to my friends that I was going to be a business owner based on an assignment that we did in class, and I knew at that moment that I wanted to do that. And right around that same time was when I was introduced to an incredible game called poker. And it wasn't necessarily the variation that I play the majority of the time today, but it was just, getting together with a group of people, but kids at that point, fifth grade, and playing for the little money that we had. It was always like nickel, dime, quarter poker, and anytime somebody made a quarter bet, well, it was terrifying, but we played it. And while we were playing it, there was, I've also mentioned many times how competitive I am. Well, that's the environment that I grew up in. All my friends and myself were so competitive, and there was lots of trash talk involved. So I bring up those two parallels to say I had no idea that poker was going to be the thing that helped condition me and train me for the business world, for being under pressure and making decisions and dealing with people who are getting under your skin and annoying you intentionally and making you feel bad about yourself, but yet still powering through and making good decisions. And I feel like the parallel between poker and business were very close. Well, as I've also mentioned many times, back in 2019 at the end of the year, I made the determination along with my business partner that I wanted to be in the business less, not just physically, but mentally. And I wanted to really kind of focus on, I didn't even know at the time, but living life, because I spent so much time working and trying to accomplish these goals, and that I felt like I was just rubbing myself raw, and just it was not the same me that I felt like I was capable of being. And so in 2020, just before the pandemic, I started to experience some of that freedom. And then once the pandemic hit and we were all kind of forced to retreat into our corners, it was the first time I felt at peace, which I've mentioned many times. But the thing about the pandemic that was actually cool, the thing I enjoyed the most, besides jumping in an RV and traveling around the country for a year, was very early on, probably like 1 or 2 days into the lockdown, we started to connect with friends and play poker online every single night at 8:35, and we would run another tournament about 9:05. But we did it online, which was not legal at the time. Well, not legal to play for money online. So we would just have everybody PayPal or Venmo their money to me, and we had a very objective structure of how people were going to win based on the tournament outcome. And we literally had just over 100 people, and not all of them would play every night, but we would have at least probably 30 to 35 people that would play every night. And we'd get online and we would just play poker and talk crap. And a lot of the people that were playing were really accomplished poker players who I knew were on a list called the Hendon Mob, which is a kind of a world, when you get on that list, it's when you cash in a tournament that is sanctioned, and then you end up with a world poker ranking. And then it's kind of a race to accumulate winnings so that you can have bragging rights with other poker players when you're around them. But we were playing with a lot of people like that. And I loved that every single night, even as we were traveling around the country, I would make sure that we were done with our driving so that we could be in a camp spot or a Cracker Barrel or wherever we were going to be sleeping for the night, and so that I could sit there and participate in my poker tournaments, with all these other people. Well, probably after a few months of that, I made the statement to Amanda, well, it might have been about 6-7 months after that. But I said, I think I want to take a shot at playing poker professionally. And she kind of rolled her eyes, because that is not a great lifestyle. And I think what I meant by playing, professionally is I wanted to play against the best, and I wanted to put myself in a position to be able to come out on top against the best. And so although I had kind of stepped away from the active business world, I certainly did not step away from the competitive monster that was inside of me. And I figured out poker might be a way to be able to do that. So I made the proclamation, saw the eye roll, and probably didn't really even believe it myself. But I started I went and I played literally probably 5 days before the whole world shut down in Hammond, Indiana, at the World Series of Poker Circuit event. And I played from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until 2:30 in the morning, and busted out 2 people before the money. And I wasn't really disappointed. It was so exciting and exhilarating. Although the entire time I sat at that table, I felt like the prey, and I was really nervous, and I could feel my heart racing. And it was a great experience. And I think getting a taste of that just before the whole world locked down really just kind of drove me in that direction to want to do more of that. And so over the course of the last 5 years, I've traveled around the country. I played in a bunch of different states, and got myself my world poker ranking back when I was in Iowa, probably about 4 years ago, and have since cashed in Chicago and Hammond and in North Carolina, done well in some tournaments down in Florida, but it's been a lot of fun. And so I started all this out with saying I got a cool opportunity. Well, I got hired to fly down to Dallas, Texas tomorrow, and to basically teach 28 CEOs how to play Texas Hold'em. And then I'm going to be the tournament director of a tournament. So I get to run the whole tournament. I get paid to go and do something that is so much fun, and also get to blend poker together with business. It's a pretty fun opportunity, and I'm really excited about it. But anyway, I'm planning on starting to create more and more of this content. And just kind of, as I went through and reviewed the content that I'd created over the last few years and during the last 7 months, I realized there's some good stuff in there, and I'm really glad that I captured it. But it's also kind of inspired me to create more, because if there's something I can share, a thought, an experience, whatever, that helps somebody else make a decision or inspires them to take some action or whatever, and ultimately results in mitigating some of the pain that they would go through if they made that decision without viewing that content or having that conversation, that's exciting to me. So, but that's it. That's all for today. I just wanted to share that story and just a little bit more on my intersection between poker and business and the cool opportunity for tomorrow. I'll keep you posted and let you know how it goes. See you. Bye.